Adam here from the Walser Automotive Group. What I want to do today is take you on a test drive. So next to me here, I have the Subaru WRX in the base trim with the 6-speed manual. So we'll look at the interior, the exterior, and then go for a spin around and see what it's like out on the open road. Okay, so now we're behind the wheel of the WRX, so let's go for a little spin around. Now, obviously, like any car enthusiast, we have to start with the fact that this is a 6-speed manual. There's not a lot of cars on the market left where you can actually get a manual transmission, so I love that it's even offered in the WRX. Until you get to the top tier GT trim, that would be just the CVT transmission. But it is fun to drive. Now, I've spent some time in the previous generation and not a lot of time with these new ones, but immediately it feels comfortable or the same. You kind of get that hint of that heritage of the WRX. And what do I mean by that? It's a light clutch. I like the grab or the engagement point, and it feels like a sports car. Now, everyone wants to review the top trim and show you all the equipment, and I figured, you know, it would be fun, take the base one, go back to the roots of sports cars, right? This model has a key, a physical key that I put in the ignition and turn, and I like that. Yes, it's nice and convenient to have the keyless entry and all that good stuff, but for the sake of keeping the price down and maybe just getting into an affordable sports car with a manual, I think the base WRX offers a lot of good stuff. Now, a few more things on the inside. This has Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. So I have my phone plugged in, so it's nice and charged up. I've got my Google Maps, Spotify, my text messaging, and this has a really cool voice control system. So you can change anything from the climate to all sorts of different stuff by just clicking that little button on the steering wheel. And then obviously you've still got your cruise control and your standard audio settings on the steering wheel. And it's kind of got a flat bottom on here, which is pretty cool. And it makes me at 6'1" very comfortable. Now the wheel is also tilting and telescopic, so I can find my comfortable driving position. Now these are just the standard cloth seats in this one, and if you go up to the premium or if you look at the limited model, yes, you can add the heated seats and all that good stuff, but I think these are really comfortable. The bolstering is great down below, and I love that it's a two-tone with the red stitching. It just kind of looks good and fits the vibe of what I like with just the base model WRX. Now, a few other things that are cool in here, you'll notice two screens. It's not just the larger 11.3 inch that you'll find in some of the other models. This one splits to kind of give you your climate control or some of your car settings down below, and then your CarPlay, and then your main radio settings up in the top one. It sounds kind of goofy, but I almost prefer it to the larger screen. It makes it convenient where you have your climate control down there. Now this is just a single zone climate control where I can still change the heat with physical buttons. And then there's a touch screen for the fan speed. And then obviously you have your defrost because it is wintertime. But you're also going to get a digital gauge cluster in the middle here. So there's little buttons behind the steering wheel, so you go through your trip settings, radio settings, tire pressure, all sorts of stuff is going to be housed in there. Now, what about the exterior? So the WRX kind of had mixed reviews when it came out. Some people love the styling, some people didn't love all the plastic cladding on the outside, but now that I've actually spent some time behind the wheel and seen a few different ones with some cool wheels or exhaust on them, there's a lot you can do to this car to make it pretty cool. So the base trim is going to come with that standard key, but you do keep things like the LED headlights up front and those really cool tail lights out back. Now this one also is going to have the quad exhaust, which looks really good and does give it a nice sporty feel from behind the vehicle. But what about trunk space or day-to-day living with this car? The rear seats fold down, so if you did need to haul something a little bit larger, it's still a 4-door, so you can open the doors, fold the seats down. There's decent trunk space back there. You can absolutely fit a couple sets of golf clubs and hit the course if you'd like. So there's a lot of usability. I thought legroom was pretty good in the back as well. I mean, it's all around a sports car that can kind of do it all, which seems like almost a dying breed these days. But what about the ride and drive? Okay, it's good, it's fun. The symmetrical all-wheel drive is pretty cool. That is going to give you that sure-footedness in the wintertime. And then when you put your foot down, it's got plenty of get up and go. And you can hear that 4-cylinder kind of wind up, and with the boost gauge on the dash here, that's a pretty sweet thing to have day to day. And the fuel economy is going to be not bad. If you can keep your foot out of that turbo, you're going to look at probably mid-20s returned, and the CVT is going to be a little bit less than the manual transmission, so maybe another option for why you want to opt for the manual transmission. but you can feel a lot of that rally heritage. I mean, this color is World Rally Blue. That is what speaks to the WRX. It's fun to drive day to day. It's a riot to drive in the snow, and if you have to live with this car, if you've got the kids in the back, it's still something you can do. And then if you want to go out on the weekends and have some fun, this is certainly a car that can do kind of everything, and that's what I've always loved about the WRX. The interior is cool. There's kind of this mock carbon fiber that runs through the cabin, and I think all the materials, it's kind of a softer touch sort of plastic, but it looks good, and I think it'll age very well. Now, the base model does come with the 17-inch wheel, and this is going to be on a little bit more of an aggressive tire. If this was my vehicle, I'd probably be looking at some snow tires, since it is about to come down pretty good here. But I mean, overall, there's the 17-inch, the 18-inch. I think these ride and drive pretty good. I mean, yes, you can obviously change wheels and tires if you'd like, but I think it kind of gives it a good feel and look to the outside, and you still don't have to quite worry as much about all those crazy Minnesota road potholes. So let's put our foot down a little here. You know, 271 horsepower. Now, this is a 2.4 liter turbocharged boxer engine. And what's cool is that hood scoop actually works. That's going to feed the intercooler. And you can see when you open the hood, there's actually ducting that gets right in there. So the vehicle is going to stay cool, and it's going to keep that power consistent if you're out romping around a little bit. So, I mean, overall, kind of just driving around a little bit today, what do I think? I think I miss driving a manual transmission is the big takeaway from today. It's fun. I mean, you still get a lot of the creature comforts in here, but what does it boil down to? I get a sports car, I get a manual transmission, and I get Apple CarPlay, and that, for me, is all I need. And the symmetrical all-wheel drive, the ease of driving this car. I mean, there's a lot to like about the WRX. You know, the average new car price right now is $48,000. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. And if you can get into this model at just under $32,000, and if it only goes up from here, if you want more equipment, if you want some of that comfort and luxury stuff, you absolutely can do that. But I think if you're in the market for a fun car that you can use day to day, you have to get out, take the WRX for a spin, and see what you think. So that was just a brief look at the WRX. Now, if you'd like more information or to schedule a test drive for yourself, you can visit us online at walser.com or stop by either one of our Subaru locations. We'd be happy to help you out. Thanks for watching.